Well, problems continue to mount for US aerospace company Boeing after another string of international safety incidents. On Thursday morning, a Boeing 737-300 passenger aircraft crashed during takeoff in Senegal. 11 people were injured when the plane ran off a runway and caught fire. Separately, 2 investigations involving Boeing planes are underway in Turkey, when, also on Thursday, nearly 200 passengers were evacuated from a Boeing 737-800 after one of its tires burst upon landing. This all comes just a day after a FedEx Airlines Boeing 767 cargo plane landed at Istanbul airport without its front landing gear. This, as a Boeing whistleblower, former quality inspector Santiago Paredes told the BBC he found up to 200 defects on plane parts being readied for shipping to Boeing. For the latest on the investigations, my colleague Sumi Somaskanda spoke to the US Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg.
Secretary, thank you so much for joining us in our studios today. I want to start with some BBC reporting. We spoke to a whistleblower who worked for Spirit AeroSystems in Kansas. That's a subsidiary of Boeing. And he said he often found up to 200 defects on parts being ready for shipping to Boeing. And Spirit says it strongly denies these allegations. It's important for us to say that. But he told us, quote, "I was finding a lot of missing fasteners, a lot of bent parts, sometimes even missing parts." Are you confident that Boeing is actually meeting its commitment to safety that your department sets?
Well, the FAA is investigating this right now because when you hear about concerns like that, they have to be taken extremely seriously. The context for this is that we've already been in the process of putting Boeing under a microscope ever since the January incident with the Alaska Airlines flight. They need to demonstrate that they are meeting the quality standards and the safety standards that FAA has set forward. And that's part of why we've taken the extraordinary step of restricting their ability to increase production until they demonstrate that they can do that safely. The U.S. aviation safety record is an extraordinary thing, and you can't ever take it for granted. Maintaining that requires this heightened level of scrutiny, and that's exactly what's going on with Boeing right now.
If they don't meet those safety standards, what happens? Because there are planes in the skies in the meantime.
If a plane isn't safe, it can't fly. That's the bottom line. That's why FAA grounded all of those 737 MAXs until it was established that each one of them had been inspected following the plug door incident. And that's always going to be true. The FAA holds these aircraft to a standard of 1 billion to 1 or better in terms of the probability of something going catastrophically wrong. That's why we have the extraordinary safety record that we do. And right now it's clear that extraordinary measures are called for in order to safeguard and defend that record.
At the same time, we saw just actually today, there was a Boeing 737 that crashed during takeoff in Senegal, injured 11 people. Officials in Turkey say 190 passengers and crew were safely evacuated from a Boeing 737 that had a tire burst during landing. I mean, do you understand? Of course, it is a safe mode of transportation. As you said, the record has been very strong. But do you understand why people feel wary at best when they are looking at getting on a Boeing?
Not just a safe mode of transportation, the safest by far that we know, but I think the most natural human thing in the world is when you step into a metal tube that's going to fly hundreds of miles an hour through the sky, you're going to have concerns that absolutely everything has been checked to make sure that's a safe experience. And again, that's not something that we can ever treat as a destination, say we achieved safety, now we're good to go. Yeah. It has to be continually renewed, continually refreshed, and anytime a problem emerges or a threat of a problem, whether it's in the design, the process, the maintenance, or the operation of a flight, FAA is going to look at that very, very closely.
And you trust Boeing to rectify this?
Well, we don't just trust. There's an auditing process. There's right now a 90-day clock, and we're roughly 60 days into it, that the administrator has put Boeing on, saying you've got to demonstrate a comprehensive plan to tackle all of these quality issues. They have a responsibility to meet our standards, but we don't simply take it on faith. Okay. We hope and expect that they will, and we'll hold them accountable to do so.
Well, in a statement to the BBC, a Spirit AeroSystems spokesperson said, "Spirit strongly disagrees with the allegations made by Mr. Paredes. We are vigorously defending against his claims." Boeing itself declined to comment, although sources within the company say it is working hard to help Spirit address those quality issues.